everyone. My name is Jen Degenhardt, and I'm the author of several comprehensible novels for students learning the language. And I have novels in Spanish, French, English, Italian, and German. And on today's edition of Mi Libro a Mi Manera, I would like to bring to your attention a play that I wrote in the summer of 2020 following the murder of George Floyd and the protests that were taking place in our country. I didn't know at the time if there was anything I could do about it to help aid in some sort of discussion, but I found that writing this play came out very easily to me in the sense that it felt like it was a story that needed to be told. And this play, El Pueblo, is a play in 3 acts. And it focuses on microaggressions and the story of a biracial student who lives in a fairly homogeneous town and the struggles that he has in living there. And it goes through the 4 years of his high school career and all of his aspirations in the beginning, and then as the realities sink in. And I piloted this particular play with my own students at the college level, and they were receptive to having something like this in their hands and being able to read it because the language is accessible to them. But also, I'm doing this right now again with my students, and they're very happy to be able to read the conversation. They're able to follow along more with the conversation between the characters and having the action condensed in separate scenes and not having to remember so much what goes on in one scene from the next. So pro tip, concentrating on scenes rather than a whole narrative throughout the book has been very well received by my own students. And I am always looking for ways to promote conversation, difficult conversations. I think that we as educators can have these conversations with our students in the target language. Number one, having hard conversations in the target language, we have to slow everything down, right? Because even Spanish, even though I wrote it in Spanish, it's not my first language. So I have to slow down and think about what I want to say and how I want to say it. And that's true for students as well. So it can't get that heated if everyone's having to stop and think a little bit. The other thing is to talk about, instead of talking about real people and pointing people out in class or out in the real world, talking about characters that certainly are based on or formulated from people that I know in my real life and experiences that my students have shared with me. But talking about fictional characters is a lot easier than talking about real people. So I'm hoping that with this play, that you and your students will be able to have these kinds of conversations. Some of the praise I've received from different teachers, one teacher wrote and told me, this should be required reading even in English for everyone. I'm going to see if I can get this as a whole school novel. I do have it in English and in French as well, for the student body to have these kinds of discussions. And another teacher was so lovely to reach out to me because her student wrote to her and said, you need to tell Ms. Degenhardt, you need to tell her that she gets it. She gets it. I feel seen in this book. And I'm guessing it was a student of color, and I'm getting chills just thinking about it right now. And there's no better praise than that. And also, I was questioned by one of my own students, an African-American male, who said, what are your intentions with this book? And I said, I'm not an expert. I just want to start a conversation. And that's all I want to do with this book. I don't claim to be an expert. It was cathartic for me to write about and provide something that will allow for conversation when I didn't know or feel like I could do anything else during that summer of 2020 when we were all holed up anyway, and all of these protests and demonstrations were going on. So I hope you'll take a look at it with your students. It's a level 4 for sure, but it's a great novel for the identity piece of the AP themes. So it might be a great way to start your year in your AP classes. Okay, this novel or this play can be accessed, of course, on Voces Unplugged. You can also find it on my website, puenteslanguage.com, or you can listen to it and check it out on digilangua.co. I hope you will take a look at it. There are some free resources to go along with this to help guide you in this discussion on my website. And there's also some levity in here. I shouldn't forget to mention that. I apologize. There's levity. There are some very funny scenes in this play on purpose. It's kind of a heavy topic, but the younger brother is pretty much a cut up, and so I hope you'll enjoy that too. The little sprinkling of humor in there to keep y'all going. Okay, thank you so much.